All right, so this video is over literal equations, all right? So we're going to focus on these first two boxes right here. So if you look at the box on the left, the 2x minus 5 equals 13. Majority of you by now would be able to work this no problem, meaning you would say you would add 5. You would get 2x equals 18, divide by 2, x equals 9. No problem. All right? Well, now you come over here and you look and you see nothing but letters. Okay? But it's the same process of solving it. It's the same two-step equation. You just are not adding any numbers. So meaning, let's come over here. So over on this side, you can see that we added 5, right? That was the first step. Well, it's not any different here. We're going to add b. It's just that when we do it, it's going to look different over here on the other side. So we're going to be left with ax equals, and then this is going to be c plus b, meaning you're not actually going to add c and b together, okay? They're just, you just put the plus b on the other side. You just pretty much just moved it to the other side. All right, so now, over on the left, we divided by 2 to get rid of the 2 so the x can be by itself. And that's the key to literal equations. Okay, whatever letter you're solving for, okay, so letter solving for, get it by itself. That's the key right there. Get it by itself. Meaning you can see right here, we're solving for x, right? So we need to get x by itself. So we need to divide by a. And that now is gone. So we get x equals c plus b all over a. X is now by itself, and that's our answer. All right? So number 1, let's work through these. Okay, so so you can see it in the picture. Solve for w. All right, very similar to the problem that we just did. So we need to get the w by itself in number 1. So in order to get it by itself, we need to get rid of the L. All right, so we need to divide by L, and I'm going to use a capital L. So we get, that cancels out. We get A over L equals W. W is now by itself. That is your answer. All right, coming over here. Number 2, solve for h. Well, if you look over here, we find the h. Obviously, we need to get rid of the b. So we need to divide by b on each side. That's now gone. So we get a over b equals h. H is now by itself. We solved for it. That's your answer. All right, number 3. So coming over here to number 3, solve for t. So again, okay, we need to divide by r. All right, that's now gone. We get d over r equals t. T is by itself. There's your answer. All right, number 4. Okay, on number 4, a little bit different here. Okay, so we've got I equals PRT. So we need to get rid of the P and the R. So the P and the R and the T, that's all multiplication. P times R times T. So in order to get rid of the P and the R, we're going to divide by PR. So that cancels out, that cancels out. So we get I over PR equals T. And that's our answer. And I show this example in class, all right? It doesn't matter really truly what you have up top. You could have something to the effect of this right here. A equals, let's see. we can see B, C, D, E, and F. We can have that right there. And we can say solve for, let's say solve for D, the one in the middle. All right? So what you could actually divide by is B, C, E, and F on each side. B, C, E, and F. Because gone, 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 gone. All right? So this right here now equals D. D is by itself, and that would be your answer. Okay? So that's how you deal with multiple letters. All right? So here we go. Number 5, a much easier example than what I just showed you. All right? So LWH, we need to get rid of the L and the W. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide by the L and the W. All right? That's now gone. That's now gone. So we get V over, make this look more like a V. V over LW equals H. H is now by itself. That's your answer. Number 6, this is actually kind of a two-step problem, a little bit more difficult, because it wants you to solve for R, and you've got R squared, all right? So first thing we need to do is we need to get rid of pi. So we're going to divide by pi. That's now gone. So we get A over pi equals R squared. Now, we don't want R squared, we want R. So what's the opposite of squaring something? Well, square root would be the opposite of squaring something. So meaning, for example, if I have this right here, if I have the square root of R squared, these just cancel each other out and I just get R. Well, that's what I want. So in order to get R, in this situation, what I need to do is I need to square root both sides, like this. Meaning this now cancels out, just like I showed you right here. All right? So that cancels out. This drops down. The square root of A over pi equals R. So this would be your answer. The square root of A over pi equals R. All right? Easier one on this one, number 7. So M equals C minus S. All right? If I showed you a problem like this, if I said 4 equals C minus 2, all of you would know how to do this. You would say, well, Coach Baldwin, you would add 2. Over to the other side, and then you would get 6. All right? Well, it's not really any different over here. Okay? So I'm going to add S to the other side. That's now gone. It's just that I can't add M and S, so I just put M plus S equals C. C is now by itself. That is your answer. Okay? We don't need this anymore. All right, number 8. Okay, so we have a letter on the bottom of the fraction. We need to solve for M, which is on top of the fraction. Remember, to get rid of the bottom of the fraction, you have to multiply by the bottom of the fraction on both sides. So we're going to multiply by V on both sides. So that's going to now be gone. And I'm going to go ahead and switch the letters around. I usually put them in alphabetical order. So instead of VD, I'm going to put DV. Equals, and the M just drops down. Well, what are we solving for? We're solving for M. Is M by itself? Yes, it is. Okay, so that would be our answer. And that is the one step. Okay, other than number 6. Number 6 was kind of a two-step equation. Okay, but that's it for the one-step equations for literal equations. Remember, the key is to the letter you're solving for, get it by itself. All right? So now let's go to the tougher problems. Okay, kind of the multi-step. So number 9. Anytime that you're doing literal equations and you have a number in there and you have to get rid of the number, so like in this example, you're solving for h. Well, what do you need to get rid of? You need to get rid of the 1/2 and you need to get rid of the b. Always get rid of the number first, all right? So in order to get rid of the number, okay, we would have to divide. And I know you're like, what do you mean by that? Well, if I had 1/2 hx, all of you would know that you would divide by 1/2, which actually means that you flip and multiply on the other side. Okay, and we'll get to that here in a second. But it's no different. The process does not change just because I add a letter. Process doesn't change, okay? I'm still going to divide by 1/2, all right? So that's kind of what we have in this number 9 right here, okay? So I'm going to divide by 1/2. When you divide by 1/2, remember, you have to, anytime you divide by a fraction, any fraction, period, if you divide by a fraction, you flip and multiply on the other side. Okay, so instead of 1/2, we're going to have 2/1 times a, which basically is 2a. All right, that's now gone, and the BH drops down. Now, we've got one step left. Okay, we're solving for h, so we need to get rid of the b. How do we get rid of it? We divide it. That's now gone. And so our answer is 2a over b equals h. H is now by itself, and now we have an answer. All right, so let's apply that to number 10. So what we just did, this is a problem exactly like it. Okay, so we need to get rid of the number first. So we're going to divide by 1/3. And remember, when you divide by a fraction, you flip it over and multiply on the other side. So it's going to be 3 times v, which is 3v. That's now gone. The b and the h drop down. Well, what are we solving for? We're solving for b. So we need to get rid of the h. So we're going to divide by h. That's now gone. So we get 3v all over h equals b. b is now by itself. And that is our answer. All right, number 11. Okay, so solve for m. So we got a lot of stuff in the way right now. We got the 2 on the bottom and the v squared up top. Well, we need to get rid of the bottom first. So we need to multiply by 2 on each side. All right, so that's now gone. 2 times k is just 2k. And then the mv squared just drops down. All right? Now, we're solving for m. So the v squared is what we need to get rid of. You don't have to square root the v squared because we're not solving for v. We're solving for m. So the v squared is what we need to get rid of. So we need to divide by v squared. That's now gone. So we get 2k all over v squared equals m. M is now by itself. That is our answer. All right, number 12. Same principle. You have a fraction. You need to get rid of the bottom of the fraction first. All right, so we need to multiply by d. And again, I'm going to go ahead and put them in alphabetical order. So instead of DA on the other side, meaning that's now gone, I'm going to put AD. That's just my preference. All right? The B plus C just drops down. All right? So now, we're solving for B. So we need to get rid of the C. Well, it's a positive C, so we need to subtract it to the other side. All right? Now remember, you can't technically subtract the letters. So basically what you get over here is A, D minus C equals, and then the B just drops down. And now your B is by itself. Okay, that is your answer. $13. All right, we're going to solve for W. So first thing we need to do is get rid of the easiest thing to get rid of, which is the 2L. That's a positive 2L, so we're going to subtract it to the other side. All right, that's now gone. P minus 2L, okay, equals 2W. All right, so we've done one thing, subtract the 2L the other side. Now, we need to solve for W. Okay, in order to solve for W, we need to divide by 2. That's now gone. Okay, we get P minus 2L all over 2 equals W. W is now by itself. Now, I've had students in the past ask me, Coach Baldwin, can I do that? No, you cannot. Okay, why? Because this is a 1 in front of the P. Now, if that was a 2 or a 4 or a 6 or a multiple of 2, then yeah, you could reduce all 3 of these numbers by 2. But they are not all multiples of 2. So no, you cannot reduce that. All right? So this would be your answer. Number 14, solve for y. So obviously we need to get rid of the ax first. So let's subtract it to the other side because it's positive. All right? That's now gone. The by just drops down, and then literally you just rewrite it. C minus ax. All right? Because you're not actually adding anything. Okay? You basically just moved the ax to the other side. All right? So now, solve for y. Okay? In order to solve for y, well, we need to get rid of the b. So we're going to divide by b. That's now gone. The y is by itself. And then c minus ax all over b. That would be your answer. $15. Solve for x. Okay, so obviously you found the x, y equals mx plus b. We'll be dealing with this equation a lot, okay, this year because that's actually the graphing equation. All right, but that's not for now. Okay, so we need to get rid of the b. So let's subtract it to the other side. That's now gone, and then you just get y minus b. And then the mx just drops down. All right, so now solve for x. Well, we need to get rid of the m. So we need to, remember, to detach the two letters, you divide. So divide by m. That's now gone. You get y minus b all over m equals x. X is now by itself. We have now solved for it. That's your answer. $16. Solve for t. All right. So the first thing that we need to get rid of is the single p that's by itself. Okay. And it's positive. So let's subtract it to the other side. So basically we get a minus p equals p r t. All right. So now we need to solve for t. So we need to get rid of the p and the r. And I explained this earlier. It doesn't matter how many letters you got, okay? We can divide here by PR. So that's gone and that's gone, all right? And I'm left with A minus P okay, all over PR equals, and then the t drops down. The t is now by itself. This is your answer. $17, okay? Now, majority of the people that look at this problem, what they want to do is they want to distribute this first. No, do not do that. When you're solving literal equations for a letter, you do not want to distribute because you're going to have to undistribute it later, all right? So the first thing that I want to do is I want to get rid of the number, the 5 over 9. So in order to get rid of that, I need to divide it. And this is what I explained earlier. When you divide by a fraction, you flip and multiply on the other side. So we would flip it over to 9 over 5. Okay, that's now gone. And we would get 9c over 5 equals, and since that 5 over 9 is now gone, you don't technically need these parentheses. So f minus 32. All right? So now we need to solve for f. Okay? Solving for f, we would add 32 to the other side. Now, you cannot actually add the 32 because technically this is 9 over 5c. So basically what you get is 9 over, or should I say 9c, extend this a little bit, 9c over 5 plus 32 equals f. F is now by itself. That is your answer. Last one. All right, 18. Very similar type of problem. All right, so we need to get rid of the number first. So we're going to divide by 1/2. Remember, when you divide by a fraction, you flip it over on the other side. All right, so we're technically multiplying, instead of 1 over 2, it's 2 over 1 times a. So that would be 2a. This is now gone, and the rest of it drops down. All right, now let's look at it. We need to get rid of the h. So how do we get rid of the h? The same way that we just got rid of the 1/2. Divide it. That's now gone. So we get 2a over h equals, and since that h is now gone, we don't technically need this parenthesis. So last thing, we are solving for B1, so we need to get rid of the B2. So meaning we're going to subtract B2. All right, and I'm running out of room here. So that's now gone. So on the other side, okay, what I'm going to get is 2a over h, whoops, wrong thing, 2a over h minus B2, because remember I just subtracted it, equals, and then the only thing left on the other side is B1. All right, B1 is now by itself. That would be your answer. All right, so here it is at a glance. All right, so hopefully this video helps you guys out with literal equations. Remember, you can rewind it, go back over anything that you may have not understood, okay? If you got a question, come to my office hours or email me. I'll be more than happy to help you out.